Alright, so I'm finally back to the 318 project here. We're going to do two things in the next couple videos. I don't know how long these videos will take me. As you can see, I've already got the fender pan off. I already got the hood off. The hood actually has never really been back on since I took it off in like part number 2 or 3, whenever it was. But we're going to work on the hydro mechanism. And so up on further inspection, or this is the first thing we're going to do. Up on further inspection of the hydro system, if you can see down in there, and I'll try to make it a little bit more apparent as I move forward, there's actually a pin missing. And so my flashlight's dead, so that pin missing, I'm not sure if it's something I can fix or if I need some parts. But what I have to do first is I have to take this side panel off right here. Probably one of the things when I first got involved in all of this is actually, being willing to take apart a machine. Certainly takes a little bit. The fender pan, once you've taken it off a couple times, really super easy. In this particular case, take this side panel off right here. Two 10mm bolts. These three are 10mm as well, I think. So 10, 10, and 10. These are 13mm, maybe 12 or 13. And then really weird, these right here are 7/16. I have no earthly idea why. That's a 7/16 inch wrench, and you can see that it fits on there perfectly. And let me see if I can get my 10mm. So there's my 10mm socket, and it doesn't fit. And so I don't know why those are like that. But all of these bolts right here have always been 10mm or 7/16 instead of 10mm. So I'm going to go ahead and take the side panel off here. I've already got the battery removed because you have to take the battery tray loose. The second thing we're going to do, or I'm going to do, and you can watch along, is I'm going to go ahead and replace the fuel lines, because I figure if we're going to mow with this machine this coming summer, the fuel lines are probably original to the tractor. That would be my guess. I'm trying to see if there are some dates on the fuel line. Doesn't look like it. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace the fuel lines. So that means I also have to remove the other side, because the fuel lines actually come up the far side and come in here through the fuel pump. And I'll actually show you, one of the videos I wanted to make for a long time is actually a video replacing the fuel lines, to where you have to take this cover off right here. And once you take that cover off right there, you can access the line that runs from the fuel pump to the crankcase of the tractor, things like that. So we're going to do that, and we'll do this in pieces. This is the side you have to take off because you have to go through the fuel valve there. And I have no earthly idea why I'm yawning. I'm not particularly tired. You also need to zip tie up the fuel lines, which is that zip tie right there. So what I will do is I will go ahead and get this side panel off, kind of inspect the hydro system, and get some more batteries for my flashlight. That way you can see it on video, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have been sitting here staring at this for probably 30 minutes. I actually had to go in the house and get my TM5090 here to see how everything kind of goes together. And so this is version 3 of the control linkage. So it has the damper located up here. Version 4 would have the damper located in the back of the tractor here. So this is the dampener right here. I thought that was the problem, but I think the problem was actually this friction disc right here. So there's a little cupped washer there, and then there's this friction disc right here that goes on that, and you can actually see the kind of the witness marks there. And so I think that was a little loose, and what it was just causing a lot of looseness in the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it back together. Now that I've kind of figured out what's going on, it's going to take me a little bit to put it back together, because I've got to get the control arm here and everything back on, and see if that fixes the problem. If that doesn't fix the problem, then obviously we're in for a little bit bigger mess than I intended, but we can get that done. So I'll get it all put back together. I don't think there's any real reason for me to do it on video. Because if I did it on video, it'd just be me messing around with this thing for probably 20 minutes or so as I put it back together, and typically I don't talk a whole lot. So I'll put this back together, and then we'll see if just tightening this friction plate up fixes the problem. I didn't think that was the problem. I really thought that it was this dampener right here had come loose, but I mean, even you can take this arm off. So this is the control arm right here. On version 3, I've already got there's an eccentric, this part right here, that goes right here, that I'll have to put back in. You can see it's got a little bit of wear to it, and then this right there just kind of chills out. The dampener does. So, and then this right here is loose, but it seems like it's always been that way, so I don't think that's an issue, but we'll see. So anyway, I'll get it put back together and we can go from there. Well, I am not going to put it back together. So I've got a small issue here. In the previous section, I said this was loose. That's because the 2 tack welds holding this bolt on right here have actually broken loose and allows it to wobble back and forth. So that is probably what was causing my issue. Now, the question becomes, what do I do about it? To get back in there and tack weld this stud right here back on would require me to basically take everything out, including the steering column. And so steering column would have to come out. Obviously the rest of the dash would have to come off, everything else. Box, everything. I don't think it would take me too long to do that. Now what also I could do is I could just stuff some JB weld in there and hopefully that'll hold it. But for some reason I'm thinking because of the stress that stud has on it, it probably would not. So that leads me to make a decision. So probably going to take me 2 hours at minimum to take everything apart, tack weld it, put it back to where I'm sitting right now. And I think that is probably the better option, but I really don't like that idea. So I'll mull it over for a little bit, and then I'll let you know what I decide. If I just want to take some JB weld, because I think there's enough room in that. I think there's enough room right in there that right there to put some JB weld in there, and it'll be fine. But then again, I don't have a really good surface to bind to, and if I got access to the back there, it would be fine. So I'll think about that for a little bit, and we'll come back to it and see what I want to do.